Hi, my name's Savannah. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today I wanted to talk about Salem's Lot by Stephen King. I actually finished this earlier today and I'm super excited to talk about it with you guys. Before we get into the video though, I want to let you know that I'm going to be starting a little series on my channel talking about classic Stephen King horror. I'm going to be starting with, of course, Salem's Lot, but then I'm going to be talking about The Shining, Misery, Carrie, Pet Sematary, and possibly It. I am still deciding if I do want to read It because I know it is such a large book and has some controversial stuff in it, but I think I will read it, so let me know what you think in the comments. Alright, first I'll tell you what the plot is about. This book is about an author named Ben who returns to Jerusalem's Lot, which is his childhood hometown, and he wants to write a book about his experiences with the Marston house. Now, this Marston house is rumored to be haunted, and he had a pretty terrifying experience there as a child, so he wants to write a book on this and find out more information. Two young boys go missing one day though, and when only one returns alive, Ben starts to suspect something more sinister is happening in the town. I absolutely loved the setting of this novel. It was super spooky, small town, and he introduced us to so many different characters, so I really got a feel for what the town was like, which I did love. I did, however, I'll grab it, have to write a huge list of characters because he has so many characters in his novels, but it was helpful for me to see them written. So if you do want to read this book, I might recommend that unless you're super good at remembering names that oftentimes sound very similar to each other. Anyway, this novel is super slow burn and it took a really long time for me to actually start getting into it, but when I did get into it, I was super interested. And I mostly got into it a little bit before part 2, so around the 175 pages to 200 page mark, I became really interested. But the beginning of this novel is a huge kind of atmosphere build, so you learn a lot about the town, you're introduced to a lot of characters, and you start to find out that a lot of these people have some secrets they are hiding from one another and have their demons they're facing as well. I really love the atmosphere Stephen King painted. The Marston house was really eerie and creepy. I honestly wish there was more scenes in it because I really enjoyed the scenes that did take place in the house. I loved the small town feel of everything and how everybody kind of knew everything about everyone. It felt super authentic to a small town and I really appreciated it. Like I said earlier though, it was kind of easy to lose track of the characters' names, but overall I did enjoy that Stephen King introduced us to many different characters in the town. By the way, if you are interested in Stephen King or have already read Stephen King and love his work, I would actually recommend the series on Hulu called Castle Rock. I especially liked the second season. Let me know actually if any of you guys have watched it. But the first season was a little bit slow for me. The second season really picked up. I loved it. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. Alright, so here comes the negative part of the video. What I disliked about this book. First of all, this is just a general Stephen King comment. He talks about women in a very annoying way. He always over-sexualizes them. Drives me insane. I think it drives a lot of people nuts. But it kind of comes with the territory with Stephen King. I don't really know why this is, but it's just an annoying thing that I had to kind of ignore while I was reading this. Another thing that bothered me, like I mentioned earlier, was some of it was slow, especially the beginning portion, as well as actually sometimes later in the novel. He did kind of lose my interest a few times, but other times I was just flipping through the pages. So I just kind of wish that he was more consistent with his writing, but I do understand because this book is so long. So yeah, that is a negative thing about the book in my opinion. Alright, so now you have reached the spoiler section. Please click away if you don't want anything spoiled for you, but I'm excited to talk about some more details in the book. So in the beginning of the book, I was really interested in Susan and Ben's relationship. I liked hearing about it. I liked hearing about the dynamic between her parents and him. And I liked hearing about that. And it was so sad. Oh my gosh, when he had to kill her after she became a vampire. It was so depressing. I'm really kind of mad that she became a vampire, but I get why he did it. I really like the section about the disappearance of the boys. It was super spooky. I love how we didn't know what took them. I actually happen to know that this novel was about vampires. So I did know that vampires took them, but I feel like if somebody didn't know that this book was about vampires, it would have been even creepier. I really loved hearing when Stephen King also wrote from children's perspectives. I think he does this exceptionally well. I really liked Mark and his character, especially towards the end. I was super rooting for him. I just thought he was awesome and so brave. And I loved the part where he was talking about how children and adults are so different with their fears. All right, this may be controversial, but I actually thought it took way too long to get to the vampire scenes. I'm glad that he did build the world, but I wanted more vampire scenes because I really did love the vampire scenes when they happened. I totally saw these creatures as sinister and scary and heartless and gross, and I just wanted some more of that. So I wish he put more of that into the story. The first scene with a vampire in it was actually the scene where Dud was killed, and I love that scene. It was super creepy, and I could see that if somebody didn't know this book was about vampires, they may not even know it was a vampire who was attacking him. Okay, my favorite scene in the whole entire book was where the school teacher, Matt, heard Mike Ryerson in the other room, and he freaked out. So I want to read a portion of this for you. I think it is so well written and super creepy. All right. And in the awful, heavy silence of the house, as he sat impotently on his bed with his face in his hands, he heard the high, sweet, evil laugh of a child, and then the sucking sounds. Oh my gosh, this part is so creepy. Like, it just gives me the chills. In my notes, I wrote, wow, gross. And then part 2. So as soon as that scene happened, I was like, I am ready for some Stephen King horror. And I just absolutely love the scenes that he wrote that were just pure horror. They were incredible. Super creepy, super gross, super just, like, ugh. I don't know how to explain it, but I love those scenes. I think he's so talented at writing just straight up horror. Some of the other scenes I really loved was when he described Ben going to the Marston house as a kid and seeing that creepy man hanging up and running away. I thought that was super effective, super creepy. I also loved the scene with the gravedigger when he had this realization that, oh my gosh, the kid's eyes were open and he has to dig this grave out again, open it up, and then his eyes are staring at him. That was so scary. I love that scene. It was so good. Also, the scene with Mark where he's in bed and he hears tapping on the window and it's Danny talking to him. That scene was so scary because I've had night terrors before, and it's where you see the room but then you see something in it, and this just seemed like something straight out of a night terror that I could have or somebody else. So I really loved this scene. It was super creepy, and the fact that it was a kid just made it even creepier. All right, let's talk about the most disturbing scenes. So maybe the scenes that weren't scary particularly, but disturbing. So the first one that comes to mind is the baby. Super sad. Child abuse is depressing and really upsetting. So when that was talked about, really sad. Also, how the baby became a vampire. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I should be happy because the baby got away from its parents who were being so awful to the kid. But yeah. Also, the scene where those people were caught cheating. I can't remember their names for the life of me. That was really disturbing. I was like, whew, that's a lot. But I thought he was really effective with his writing there. So Stephen King can write disturbing really well. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. I'm super happy that I read it. I'm super proud of myself that I read it too because it's really long. I usually don't read books this long, and even though it took me a few days to get through, I really enjoyed it. Even at the slow points, I still wanted to keep reading. I was still motivated. I didn't ever have to make myself read. I always wanted to read, and it was really fun reading this book, especially at night, because I'm super weird and like being scared. I guess there's a lot of people like me, but I love being scared. I love reading things at night, sometimes even alone. when I'm the only one awake in our house. So yeah, I love this book. I can't wait to read more Stephen King. Even though I did have some problems with it, I still rated it 4 stars because it was super good, super entertaining. I would highly recommend it if you like vampires, if you like creepy crawly stuff. I wasn't super freaked out, but I was definitely unnerved at some points, and the scene I read you earlier really did creep me out. So I guess I was a little scared a few times. All right, well, that's it for this video. I can't wait to see you guys in my next video, and I hope that you all are having a great fall, cozy, spooky day. Bye.